I am moderator until I go through the election of another moderator for the school district. Actually, it's two different moderators. We used to do it as one until Ed Chase says, "Jerry, that's wrong." And so when we did that little tutelage on town meeting and recommendations and whatever, I said, let's do that. And that's also when I changed it from 10 o'clock to 9. And it's probably a good thing we did, or we'd be really late. All right. So I will read the warning. Annual meeting of the Cambridge Town School District of Cambridge, Vermont, March 5th, 2024. The legal voters of the town of Cambridge are hereby warned and notified to meet in Cambridge Town School District meeting at the Cambridge Memorial Gymnasium in Jeffersonville, within said town, on Tuesday, March 5th, 2024 at 1 p.m., it's a little later, or following the town meeting, whichever is earlier or later, to act on the following articles. The voters are further notified that the polls for the Australian ballot question, Article 7, will open at 7 a.m. on Tuesday, March 5th, 2024 at the Cambridge Memorial Gymnasium and will remain open until 7 p.m. The voters are further notified that an informational meeting at the Australian ballot question, Article 7, will be held in the Cambridge Elementary School at 6 p.m. on Monday, March 4th, 2024. The voters are further notified that the voter qualifications, registration, and absentee balloting shall be as provided in chapters 43, 51, and 55 of Title 17, Vermont statutes annotated. And at this point, I would entertain a motion to dismiss for the reading of the rest of the warning, as you have copies up here and hopefully in your possession. So there's no sense of me of reading any further, but go on to Article 1. Is there any objection?
Greg Johnson, so moved.
Is there a second? Second in the back. Thank you. All right.
Smithers, I second the motion.
Actually, if there be no, I don't even know if I have to vote on it. If there be no objection, I will do unanimous consent and just move right on. Article 1, to elect a moderator of the Cambridge Town School District meeting for the year ensuing, and nominations would be in order.
This is Heather Hobart. I'd like to nominate Joel Page for moderator.
Is there a second?
Greg Smithers, second the motion.
Excellent. Are there any other nominations? And actually, in nominations, you only need one person because you're supposed to have the permission of the person nominated, so that would make 2. Are there any other nominations? Or if there... All right, there being no other nominations, I'm just going to put the question. All in favor of Joel Page for moderator, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. Beautiful. You're on.
Thank you, Jerry. Thank you, folks. And as in the last meeting, I am appointing Jerry Cole to be the parliamentarian to help me if there are any sticky Robert's Rules issues that come up. So let's proceed to Article 2, to hear the report of the Cambridge Town School District Board of School Directors.
I am Mark Stebbins. I would like to move that we hear the report of the Cambridge Town School Directors.
You can proceed. It doesn't really require a motion
it doesn't?
because we're
Okay.
just hearing.
Oh, excellent. Well, good afternoon, everybody. Mark Stebbins. This is kind of a first for me. I'm getting up to talk about our director's report, and a lot of what I talked about in our director's report has actually changed since I wrote our director's report. For probably, I'm guessing most of you were here this morning when Rich Westman was up front, and he did actually cover a lot of what I was going to talk about. Kind of the big thing, if you've been watching the news at all over the last few weeks, months since late last fall, has been Act 127 and kind of the impact and what that's going to do to tax rates and kind of this upheaval that's been happening in how we are addressing the education funding mechanism, not we, the legislature. 127, I guess, it had good intentions, but as we discovered over the last few weeks, there were areas where it was a little bit misused. We'll put it that way by some districts, and it really drew a lot of concern, and it's got the attention of the legislature, and so much so that there was, I think it's H850 was signed into law by Governor Thursday, the 22nd of February, so just recently, last few days. And this is to change this whole 10% growth cap per student and 5% tax rate increase cap. Those were the two things that were kind of creating all this, this upheaval in the system. So those have come along, or that bill's been signed, and what it's projected to do is it will get rid of those, and it's going to create a kind of this step-down tiered tax rate system for the next few years for some of these districts that are getting hit harder by the way this funding mechanism is changing their tax rate. The bottom line for Cambridge is the projected changes from this law, and the way we're seeing that they are initially affecting the yield, which is part of the equation for tax rates. It actually might be a further effect on the yield, but that effect on it is going to essentially drive our tax rate down a little bit. We're seeing a little bit more of a decrease at Lamoille North, but with Cambridge, it's actually bringing us down around 4.87% increase in taxes for the school tax rate. So this is definitely a better position for us, this change in the last few days. I'm sure you're going to hear more about this coming up. I don't think it's completely ironed out, and there's still, as Rich said, the whole thing is this ongoing kind of, not really a battle, but an ongoing work that's not settled in the legislature to try to kind of fix this this education finance mechanism. But that being said, that's really kind of the big thing that we've been looking at over the last few weeks, and kind of the big thing affecting us and how we've looked at the budget this year. When it comes to the budget, the board really did, and if you caught any of the budget information over your last night's meeting, or the video that was online after that, or even hearing it at any of our meetings, Lamoille North stuff, it's really the board here, and certainly Lamoille North as well. We've really stuck to a very conservative approach this year. We did see early on, this group here saw early on kind of this headroom that we had, that we could have played with in the budget. We do the student count changes and how the state counts students and how many students Cambridge has in the eyes of the state for funding purposes. Due to that change, we ended up with a decrease in cost per pupil, basically. And we had essentially 16% or so worth of budget headroom that we could have decided to really spend a lot of money. But in the end, we really thought it was more prudent to not go that route, because we didn't want to see, we understand kind of the greater picture of it for one thing, and that even if it's, it'll go out and the rest of the state's got to deal with our increase, a lot of that will come back on the town as well. So we thought it was more prudent to really take a conservative approach no matter what. So I think, what we came up with, our budget overall, is really kind of the basic needs of what the school is facing right now. There are certainly some areas that are, have increased in recent years, and we are trying to address those. And it's, there's a lot of services that we have right now. Not a lot of it. There's some additional services that we have that we are looking at as the needs kind of draw down, that we will be able to draw down those services to match that in the coming years here. So we're trying to track kind of the needs and services together. But we felt we put in basically what we needed and really nothing more. And that was our approach this year, I believe. But that's the basic news on what we're looking at with kind of this tax funding issue that's going on, and stay tuned, because I am sure there'll be more in the news about it. There's also there'll be more in the news, and there'll be a lot of things that come out that sometimes are difficult to understand, etc. But all the projections, as far as that we can tell, is that what we're looking at for our budget and our tax rate, it could only improve. It could only move in the direction of slight improvement, a lower tax rate for us. We don't foresee any change in the other direction to a higher tax rate with these changes that they're doing right now. So that's a good sign. That's basically what I want to touch on, because that's kind of those are the kind of the big changes in the last few weeks here that have happened in relation to the director's report. So I guess that's really all I wanted to touch on. If anyone had any questions about any other part of what's going on here at CES.
Does anyone have any questions of the school board? Martha?
Martha Coslet. In the past, we've had information included in the packet that shows how the kids are doing with various different metrics. I'm pretty sure that wasn't in there this year, so I'm asking, how can we access that information?
So some of these traditional standardized tests that the schools have changed in these last couple of years here, and so of course there's this overlap of not having the same results at the same time as we've had in the past. I believe you probably could find the most recent of any kind of standardized test results, say, or whatever, on either the Lamoille North website or the Cambridge website. I'd guess that you could likely get to it from there. If not, I would certainly reach out to the central office or to the office here and inquire about it. That being said, you're not going to find a trend chart showing SBAC results for the last 5 years and then something this year, because it's a whole new ball of wax this year. It's not comparable, and that may be why you're not seeing. I don't think you get a good. It wouldn't match up. Like, the data is not the same, and so I don't know if you get a good understanding from kind of trying to combine those two in the same chart. That's my guess why it's not in there, but certainly reach out. That information's, if it's been completed and everything's compiled and available to the school, I'm sure it's available to the public.
Any other questions of the school board?
Hi, I'm Sarah Lurie. I have a question about the special education assessment. I'm kind of shocked that the special education assessment is more than half of the entire regular instruction.
Do you have a page reference?
So the regular instruction budget is just over 2 million. Special education assessment is over 1 million.
Sarah, do you have a page and line reference?
Sorry, this is the school district's expenses, page 98. line number, so it's 1201 and 2490. The 1101 regular instruction and 2490 special education assessment. Just curious if someone can speak more to that. Thank you.
FY24. What I can tell you is, so this question came up last night as well. And there are probably more than one reason why the number is the way it is. And one thing with special ed is it's a larger umbrella than you might realize, is that, and the services that are involved with that. I'm trying to think what Deb had. Do you remember? Yeah, if you remember some of what she did.
It's Heather Hobart. Thanks for your question, Sarah. So Deb Clark is the business manager for the district, and she was giving answers last night at our informational meeting, and the question was asked, because it's a big number. And the recollection that I had about her answer is that the law around special ed requires the guidance, the services to be quite broad, and so the services there are provided sort of to many students across all schools in the district, and then that assessment is sort of our portion of that that payment. And if there are more specific questions that you have about it, Deb is actually available today, and we could get more specific answers to your question. And she's certainly available to give more specific answers. It is a big number, and I know it was a big question that people had last night. And if there are other people from the audience that were here last night, I know, Jeff, you were here as well, that recollect more specific answer, we're open to that as well.
Yeah, what Heather was saying jogged my memory a little bit about, Deb mentioned the number of students district-wide across all of Lamoille North that are using special ed services, and it's in the hundreds, the number of students. And that's kind of the misleading part, is because we may have our perception of what special ed is historically is not what it is now. And I think there are a lot of services, and certainly after COVID here, we have a lot of students that are requiring services that makes that number much larger, and that's some of the things that we have. They all go through a central office and they're billed back to the because special ed is all centralized at the central office, and then it's billed back together to CES. That's why it all looks like one large number.
Are there other questions for the school board? Very well, if there are no other questions, and having heard the report of the school directors, we will move on to Article 3. However, before we take up Article 3, I want to make sure that the very hard-working folks up here on the stage are recognized. Mark, could you introduce?
Yeah, that was supposed to be the first thing I did. Now you're all right. Yes, so I'm Mark Stebbins. I'm the chair of the school board. Let me introduce the rest of the board. To my left here is Heather Hobart, Denise Webster, Jan Sander, and Lori Hebert. And I also want to take this a moment to thank Heather Hobart, who is not running this year again. She's finishing her time with the school board. She has been on the board for 10 years and is now going on to pursue other interesting things. So the board, would like to thank her for all of her time and effort and wisdom over the last 10 years. And we were going to get her something, but we thought that just giving her free time back that was probably what she was looking for. So thank you, Heather.
All right, moving on to Article 3. Article 3 is to establish compensation for Cambridge Town School District. Let me say that again. To establish compensation for Cambridge Town School Board Directors for the year ensuing. Would someone like to make a motion to establish the compensation? Mark?
Sure. This is Mark Stebbins. I will make a motion that we establish compensation for the year ensuing, the same as the previous year.
And can you tell us what it was for the previous year?
Yes, the previous year was $1,500 for a board member and $1,800 for the director.
Thank you. Is there a second to the motion?
Lance Burnham, I second.
Thank you, Lance. All right, it's been moved and seconded that we establish compensation for Cambridge Town School Board Directors for the year ensuing in the same amount as last year, which was, I'm sorry, I didn't note that down,
15 and 18.
$1,500 for the four directors that are not chairs and $1,800 for the chair. The motion is now on the floor for discussion, and since Mark Stebbins made the motion, he has the right to speak first. Mark, do you want to say anything more?
I don't have anything I need to say.
Does anybody else want to say anything about the motion? Are we ready to call the motion? All right then. What you're voting on is establishing compensation for the school board directors in the amount of $1,500 for the non-chairs and $1,800 for the chair. This would be for the year ensuing. All those in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. All right. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes definitely do have it. So you have established compensation pursuant to Article 3. Now we'll move on to Article 4. Article 4, to elect by ballot the following school board directors for the Cambridge Elementary School. 1, school board director for 3 years, and 2, school board director for 2 years. If there is no objection, we will divide the question into its two essential components. First, we will deal with a 3-year position, and then we will deal with a 2-year position. So nominations are now in order for the Cambridge Elementary School School Board Director for 3 years.
Joe? I'm Denise Webster. I'd like to nominate Lori Hebert. She's currently serving in the 2-year. Would be interested in moving to the 3-year.
Thank you. Are there any other nominations for the 3-year position? Very well. Lori Hebert has been nominated for the 3-year position, and there being no further nominations, I would entertain a motion that nominations cease and that the clerk cast 1 ballot for Lori Hebert for the 3-year Cambridge Elementary School School Director seat. Would someone make that motion?
It's Mark Stebbins. I'll make that motion.
Is there a second? It's been moved and seconded that nominations cease and that the clerk cast 1 ballot for Lori Hebert. Is there any discussion on the motion? There being no further discussion, then we'll proceed to vote. All in favor of having nominations cease and the clerk cast 1 ballot for Lori Hebert for the 3-year Cambridge Elementary School School Director seat, say aye. Aye. Those opposed, say no. The ayes appear to have it, and the ayes most definitely do have it. You have elected Lori Hebert to the 3-year school director seat. Now we will move on to the second part of Article 4, the school board director for 2 years. Nominations are now in order for the 2-year position.
Joel, it's Heather Hobart. I'd like to nominate Rachel Mascalino.
Say the name again, please. Heather, would you say the name again? I didn't catch it.
Rachel Mascalino.
Rachel Mascalino. Thank you. Rachel Mascalino has been nominated for the 2-year school board position. Are there any other nominations?
This is Lori Hebert, or Hebert, and I would like to nominate Tommy O'Connor.
There's an echo here, and I'm not hearing that.
Sorry, I would like to nominate Tommy O'Connor.
Tommy O'Connor. Are there any further nominations? All right, Rachel Mascalino and Tommy O'Connor have been nominated for the 2-year school board position. Would you like to hear from the 2 candidates? I'm seeing lots of head nods, yes. So if Rachel and Tommy could come up and tell us why you'd like to have the 2-year school board director position.
Yes, so I'm Tommy O'Connor. I am a parent of a kindergartner here at Cambridge. I used to serve on the Lamoille North Modified Unified Union School District. That's a jumble. Had to step down due to a new position that also has meetings the second Monday. So would like to return to help and assist. I'm a former central office employee as well as a lacrosse coach since 2009. So I've been part of the community for a while. Really enjoy what Cambridge has to offer and just want to continue to support it.
Thank you. Rachel?
Hi, thank you, Heather, for the nomination, and thanks for all of your service to the school board. My name is Rachel Mascalino. Professionally, I'm a mechanical engineer. I work for a nonprofit, mission-driven engineering firm, and this has allowed me over the past 4 years to work with the Agency of Education in Vermont, as well as provide consulting services to the Vermont Department of Health, and work with over 100 schools throughout the state. And this has really inspired me in all the work that I've done with other school boards and superintendents. I work in doing a lot of feasibility studies for schools, including Cambridge Elementary School, working with Al and Mary Anderson here on some of the work that they've done to evaluate decarbonization efforts and the new boiler that was recently installed. Personally, I've been a homeowner in the community for over 15 years. I have a 4th grader currently, and I think it's really important to have representation on the board of consumers of the school. And I think that my goals around wanting to be on the school board are really just to be a contributor, to be part of the solutions, and to keep Cambridge Elementary School a really positive piece of the community that it already is today. And I hope that some of my professional skills will translate into work that I can do for the board going forward.
Thank you, Rachel. All right, this is a vote by ballot. We will be using the ballot marked number 4. I repeat, use ballot number 4. You have 2 candidates. Two candidates are Rachel Mascalino and Tommy O'Connor. Just a moment, please.
Two JPs here, Mark and myself. I'm on the ballot for the high school up for the election. So I probably shouldn't be involved with collecting and counting for that one. This one, a little marginal. What do you think?
There aren't that many people here. I would just stand aside.
Okay. For both?
Yeah. If you're uncomfortable, then just
I'm very comfortable.
if you're uncomfortable handling that because of the positive perception of conflict or something. I don't see it for just a second. If you want to help with the counting, that's fine.
I definitely shouldn't.
The, do you have your ballot? This is Jerry. This is Lou. Has everybody turned in their ballots? Folks, I just want to let you know about a somewhat unusual situation. We don't have the usual number of justices of the peace available. The select board members are ex officio members of the Board of Civil Authority and apparently have authority to collect and count ballots by that. If it's not an arrangement that I've seen used before. If there's no objection, and if you folks are all in agreement, whatever their authority is, if you're okay with them counting, then it's fine. If not, then we'll figure out how to deal with that. But does anybody have a problem with them collecting and counting the ballots? I'm seeing nobody indicating any objection, so good to go, guys. All right, we have the totals from the election. There were a total of 51 ballots cast. Rachel received 39 votes, and Tom received 12. So you have elected Rachel Mascalino to the 2-year Cambridge Town School District Director position. Now we will move on to Article 4, to elect by ballot the following school board directors for the Cambridge Elementary School. Next, hold on. Article 5.
Lamoille.
All right. Never mind. We'll move on to Article 5. Article 5, to elect by ballot the following school board directors for the Lamoille North Modified Unified Union School District. 1, school board director for 3 years. 2, school board director for 2 years.
This should both be 3 years.
They are both for 3 years. I misspoke. So it's 1, school board director for 3 years, and 2, school board director for 3 years. If there is no objection, we'll divide the question into its 2 essential parts. First, we will deal with the 3-year position, the first 3-year position, then we will deal with the second 3-year position. Also, if there's no objection, we will refer to the Lamoille North Modified Unified Union School District by the shorthand name of Lamoille North. Nominations are now in order for the Lamoille North School Board Director for 3 years. The first one.
Joel, this is Mark Stebbins. I would like to ask if I could make an amendment to this article. We have a 3rd open seat that has come up.
Yes.
So that would be adding an opening for the balance of a 3-year term. 3rd director, the term is the balance of a 3-year existing term, vacated term.
So, Mark, you're asking to amend the article to add a 3rd director position for the balance
For
of
the
3
balance
years.
of a vacated 3-year term.
And I need to take into account whether that's in order or not. Can you provide me some context for why you're making that request?
The reason I make this request now is because this opening came up, and by state law, it has to be filled at the next town meeting. If it's not, we'll appoint somebody. The Lamoille North Board will appoint somebody to this opening, and then next town meeting we'll have to come back and again have a partial year, election. So it will prevent the need for us to have to come back next year and do this same 3rd person vote, and it will also prevent the need for us to have to appoint somebody after the fact.
Is there somebody in that position at the present time?
There is somebody who is in there that is currently was appointed in, but they have to be reelected now at the next town meeting. So I do have a nominee for it, yes.
Why wasn't that position included in the warning?
Because of a clerical error, basically.
Okay. So, folks, this is a gray area. It involves changing a warning, except it's not. The warning already has 2 positions, so it's adding a 3rd position. It's not a great leap. Typically, we don't allow significant modifications of warnings, but I don't know whether you consider this significant or not. So what I'd like to do is get some feedback from you about whether you would be in favor of or opposed to adding this third position for consideration in Article 5. Jeff Coslett?
This was actually a potential scenario that didn't play out with the school board, or with the select board and the town warning, but I did speak with our town attorney about this very issue, and he had told me that you cannot add to a warning a position that was not warned previously. So we would not be able to add this third position.
All right, thank you, Jeff. In that case, I guess had I known that, I would have initially ruled that it's out of order. So, Mark, with all due respect, we won't be considering that. We'll have to do an appointment.
Nope, it was worth asking.
So,
Thank you, Jeff.
Can you would you like to withdraw your motion?
I
to
will
amend?
withdraw my amendment, yes. And if nominations are open, I have a nominee for the first.
And who would that be?
That would be Jan Sander.
Are there any other nominations for the first 3-year Lamoille North School Board Director position? There being no further nominations for that position, I would entertain a motion that nominations cease and that the clerk cast one ballot for Jan Sander for the 3-year Lamoille North School Director seat.
Is Mark Stedman so moved?
Is there a second?
Second,
Jeannie Hutchins seconds. We don't have the tech ambassadors here now. Oh, Cody, we've done pretty well so far. Let's stick with the program. Can you give it to Jeannie?
Jeannie Hutchins, I second.
Thank you. I think that ties into the video system. It's been moved and seconded that the nomination cease and that the clerk cast one ballot for Jan Sander for the 3-year Lamoille North School Director seat. Is there any discussion on the motion? There being no further discussion, we'll proceed to the vote. All in favor of having nominations cease and the clerk cast one ballot for Jan Sander for the 3-year Lamoille North School Director seat, say aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. The ayes appear to have it, and the ayes most definitely have it. So, you have elected Jan Sander to the first 3-year Lamoille North School District Director seat.
Thank you.
Now we'll move on to the second part of Article 5. Lamoille North School District Board Director for 3 years. Any nominations?
This is Mark Stebbins. I would nominate Susan Prescott.
And is Susan aware of this and willing?
Yes. She's unable to be here.
Yeah. And she's been filling that position for many years?
Yes, she's on
All right.
board currently.
Are there any other nominations? There being no further nominations, I would entertain a motion that nominations cease and that the clerk cast one ballot for Susan Prescott for the 3-year Lamoille North School Director seat.
Jeannie Hutchins, so moved.
It's Mark Stebbins. I'll second.
It has been moved and seconded that the nominations cease and that the clerk cast one ballot for Susan Prescott for the second of the three-year Lamoille North School Director seats. Is there any discussion of the motion? There being no further discussion, we'll proceed to the vote. All in favor of having nominations cease and the clerk cast one ballot for Susan Prescott for the second three-year Lamoille North School Director seat, say aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. The ayes have it. You have elected Susan Prescott to the second of the three-year Lamoille North School Director seats. Now we'll move on to Article 6. Article 6 says, shall the voters of Cambridge Town School District authorize the Board of School Directors for the Cambridge Elementary School to hold the audited fund balance as of June 30, 2023, in the amount of $105,886 in the already established Capital Reserve Fund to be expended under the control and direction of the Board of School Directors for the purpose of capital needs in the operation of the school. Phew, that's a mouthful. Would someone please make a motion to adopt Article 6 as written?
This is Mark Stebbins. I would make that motion.
Is there a second?
Greg Smithers, I second the motion.
Thank you. A motion has been made and seconded to authorize the Board of School Directors for the Cambridge Elementary School to hold the audited fund balance as of June 30, 2023 in the amount of $105,886 in the already established Capital Reserve Fund to be expended under the control and direction of the Board of School Directors for the purpose of capital needs in the operation of the school. We can now proceed to the discussion. And since Mark Stebbins made the motion, he has the right to speak to the motion first. Mark?
Thank you. This is pretty straightforward. We do every year. This is the fund balance from last fiscal year, and we would like to roll it into the capital reserve that we currently have. Current capital reserve is down around $50,680, so we think this gets us kind of back into a little more comfortable range.
Is there anyone else who would like to speak to the motion? Jeff?
Thank you. If you could just speak to planned capital projects that you would anticipate over the next year or so.
The next year or so. Let's see. I'm trying to think what we have. We have, and I might look to Al for a little, just some clues. We basically, Al's got an ongoing list of, and a little of this, kind of what you bring up, harkens back to what Rich was talking about with some of these other districts that put in $1 million capital improvements. One of the reasons we didn't put much of anything into our budget this year, that basically of unneeded expense improvements, was that we do keep up a very regular schedule of capital improvements on the building, and we are, I think we were realizing this year when we were doing the budget and when Al came in and presented his portion of the facilities budget, that we didn't have any this year that we no pressing needs. I think we're looking down the road not long, maybe some brickwork and maybe some roof work, but that is not immediate pressing for this year.
We need it this next year.
Is it next year?
I don't think we need it in the next year.
Oh, maybe not. Okay, so it might not be as pressing, but there were some of those that were off, that we're looking at down the road here. But we have kept up with, the facilities otherwise. Quite well, we've been fortunate in how we've been able to keep this regular schedule going. That being said, the reason this is going in here, and probably your follow-up question is why not go back into in as revenue? Is that now? Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. No, we don't have any. We typically would run the capital reserve budget somewhere between $100,000 and $150,000 just for comfort level in case something big goes. If we have, whatever, for whatever reason, we have a large expenditure that pops up during the year. We've sought to keep it down, in that range. Some places have a lot more. We're not comfortable having, say, $300,000 sitting aside. We feel anywhere from 50, 100, 150 range is good. 100, 150, I think we're quite comfortable with, not being too much, but being enough that we have something for a rainy day.
Any further questions or discussion on Article 6? There being no further discussion, we will proceed to a vote on the motion. You are voting on a motion to authorize the Board of School Directors for the Cambridge Elementary School to hold the audited fund balance as of June 30, 2023 in the amount of $105,886 in the already established capital reserve fund to be expended under the control and direction of the Board of School Directors for the purpose of capital needs in the operation of the school. If you want to authorize the school directors to take this specific action, you should vote aye. If you oppose authorizing the school directors to take this specific action, you should vote no. All those in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. The ayes have it. We will now move on to Article 7. Now, Article 7 is an Australian ballot article. Many of you have already voted on Article 7 in the back of the room by Australian ballot. Nonetheless, I'll read it and then we can have discussion on it. There can be discussion, but we cannot vote on the proposed school budget and we cannot amend the article. So the article reads, shall the Cambridge Town School District approve the proposed budget for the 12 months ending June 30, 2025 in the amount of $6,833,666, which is the amount determined to be necessary for the ensuing year. The report of the Cambridge Town School District, just for your information, is on pages 93 to 99 of the town report. Is there any discussion of Article 7? There being no discussion of Article 7, we will move on to Article 8. Article 8 reads, discussion of other non-binding business. So this is an opportunity to bring up other business that has not been warned. Any action taken under this article will not be binding because it has not been warned. Votes can be taken under other business on motions presented in order to provide a sense of direction to the school board or our legislators, but those votes are not binding. Other business can also include opinion, comment, and acknowledgement of individuals and agencies. Does anyone have other business they would like to discuss? There being no other business, I would entertain a motion to adjourn this meeting.
Greg Smithers, and I move that we adjourn.
Is there a second?
Cody Marshall, second.
It has been moved and seconded that we adjourn. All in favor of adjourning this meeting, say aye. Aye. Those opposed, say no. The ayes have it, and this meeting is adjourned. Thank you all for attending, sticking around this long, and participating in this meeting. Thank you for your patience and for your civility. We'll see you next year or at the next special town meeting.